Welcome, this would be our next class on research methodology. In the last class we have talked about the hypothesis, the definition and the various types of hypothesis. In this class we will be solely focusing on how do we test hypothesis, the alpha and the beta errors, or what are commonly known as type 1 and the type 2 errors. And also we will discuss the P regions or the probability regions. Now let's do a quick recap of what we did under the hypothesis when we talked about the types of hypothesis. There we talked about the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, and we took a case of a child eating ice cream and running a temperature. Now we will be using the same example throughout this lesson also to help you understand the concept better. So let's say here again we have a child eating ice cream and later on running a temperature. So what does null hypothesis say? Null hypothesis establishes that there is no relationship between eating ice cream and running a temperature. On the other hand, you will have alternative hypothesis that would say there exists a relationship between eating ice cream and running a temperature. Now, to elaborate further, in null hypothesis we can say there is no statistical significance between the two variables that are used. And what the researcher is basically trying to establish is he is trying to disapprove the hypothesis, or we can say the individual is free from disease, that could be another example, or again we can say there is no relationship between eating ice cream and running a temperature. So these types of relationships are merely due to chance if in case they do exist. On the other hand, we already talked about the alternative hypothesis where we believe there exists a relationship between the two variables. So there is a statistically significant relationship that exists between the two variables. Now let's understand the concept of testing the hypothesis in a simple form. So when we talk about that, the most important thing that we need to understand is the NPC or the normal probability curve. Now let's say here, let's take a condition where the father first tries to prove that child has a temperature. So what does he do? Before the child had temperature, he took few samples of the child and he plotted those samples. So let's say he took the samples 100 times, out of which 90 times he got the values close to the normal value, that is 98.6 degrees. So that's the values he got most of the times. However, there was, due to some chance, the variation in the values which ranged from 106 to 96.6. So you have the two extremes that we have plotted here. However, there could be values which could lie beyond it, and those values could be due to a chance. So there is a probability that the value could exist in this region which is beyond the region that we have marked, or we have taken those as safe regions. So these regions we call that as the significance level, and when we say the significance level, that means, let's say if I mention a significance level of 0.05 or we say a 5% level of significance, that means 2.5 would be in this section and 2.5 would be in this section. So this region and this region would be the critical regions, or the regions where you would have a probability of the extreme data to lie, but that would be beyond the significance level that we have decided. Now definitely the value could lie in that region. Now let's say the boy has the temperature, and that is 101 that has come onto the thermometer this time. So where would you plot this 101? This 101 would lie beyond the values that we have taken under the significance curve. So let's say this would be the line for 101. Now you have the temperature, that is 101, and the father is taking numerous values to have again a normal probability curve, and these normal values lie along this probability distribution. So you have most of the values which would be closer to 101. When the boy is running the temperature, most of the values would be closer to 101. So this would be the curve that would be plotted. Now this curve is plotted along the values that we have taken for our sample data. So these are two different things, remember. So this is the significance level that we have decided. Now let's say, if I say a significance level of 5% and the value lies beyond that 5%. So my significance level of 5% is 100 and the value is lying beyond that. That means what I am doing here, my null hypothesis is being rejected since the values are lying in the critical region. So if I have a 5% case where I can say the boy is running a temperature and that could be due to a chance or due to a error. Let's say the thermometer is faulty, that could be one of the reasons, or there could be any other reason that could be explained, and we are saying that the value is lying in this region. So that is when I reject the null hypothesis and my value lies in the critical region, and that is what is alpha or type 1 error. Now in the other case, I have my significance value that I change and bring to 1%. Now what would happen when I have my significance value of 1%? I would, let's say, accept all the values till 102 to be normal or that could exist in the given situation. So when I am saying all the values up to 102 are fine, I am okay with it, that's the variation in my thermometer that could occur for some reason or the other, I would accept this 101. So this 101 would be part of the null hypothesis. So in that case, if my significance level is 1%, I would accept the null hypothesis. So that's very, very important. So where you set your significance level is very, very important before you either accept or reject the null hypothesis. So I repeat again, if I have a 5% level of significance, what would happen? My values would be beyond the values, would lie in the critical region that I have demarcated, that would be beyond 100.6. And therefore, I would say my null hypothesis is rejected. On the other hand, if I have a significance level of 1%, that means my values are normal up to 102 and 101 would definitely fall under my normal curve, and therefore I am okay with these values. That means I am accepting the null hypothesis. So that's the first thing to understand. So in this case, if you have 5% significance, you say you are rejecting the null hypothesis. If you consider 1% significance level and you consider the values up to 102 to be fine, you are saying you are accepting the null hypothesis. Now the second thing that we move around, is the p-value or the probability value. Now this p-value or the probability value is explained as considering the null hypothesis to be true. Assuming the null hypothesis to be true, the probability that my data would be as extreme as the data I have defined here, that would be the p-value. That means all the values lying beyond the value that I have for 101 would be the p-value or the p-region. So this would be the p-value or the p-region. Now let's say all my values superimposed to the normal distribution that I have. In that case, what would be my p-value? My p-value would be exactly 1 because I have a same curve as a normal distribution curve here and I have no difference. However, in case I have a value that deviates here, so I have a smaller p-region, let's say this. So what would happen, as I move this side, as I move away, I would have the null hypothesis that would be explained by mistake, and therefore the value of the extreme data would be, the probability of the extreme data would be very, very less. So again my p-values would be very, very close to 0. So as I move here, I would say you are rejecting the null hypothesis under a p-value. So that would be the p-region and you would be rejecting the null hypothesis. Now again, it's very interesting to establish a relationship between this p-value and the alpha region. So that's the alpha region and that's the p-region. Now if I say my p-region or p value is less than or equal to alpha, what does that mean? When I say my p value is less than or equal to alpha, that means my values are lying somewhere here, and when my values are lying here, what I am saying, these values lie in the critical region, and since they are lying in the critical region, I am rejecting the null hypothesis. Now let's say my p values lie somewhere here. So they are within this curve, and when they are within this curve, my p values are greater than or equal to alpha, and when this is the case, what I am doing here is, this region is all the region which I am accepting. So this would be the region when I accept the null hypothesis. So that's the basic concept to understand for today's lecture, how we understand the alpha region, how we come on to the type 1 errors, what is a p region, what is the null hypothesis, and where do we reject or accept the null hypothesis. So as we said, when we talk about a statistical significance, we say that could be an error due to the chance. So that chance is 5% on 1% based on what we keep as our standards before we begin the test. Now let's say, what would be, let's go back to the same example where we talked about the child and the temperature. Now what would be alpha in this case? So alpha in this case, I can say, would be a case where the child is not having fever, still I am concluding that the child is running a temperature, and that is what is the alpha error. So child does not have a fever, but still I conclude that child has a fever. So what I am doing is, I am rejecting the null hypothesis here when you have the null hypothesis that is true, because you have this region which is here and still you are rejecting it. So that would be the alpha. So when the null hypothesis is correct and you reject it, you call it type 1 error. We will not move on to the type 2 error right now, because let's first understand this. So as we said, you have the alpha region that would fall here, and in this case, the example of the child and running a temperature, I can say if the child has a fever and still we are concluding that the child does not have a fever, and still we are concluding that the child has a fever, would be the alpha error. So that's the first thing. Now just a quick recap of the alpha error. So as we said, you have considered 5% to be a significant level. So anything beyond this 5% would lie in the critical region, and that would be where we would define that we are rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true, because this whole normal probability is true, but I say that there is 5% chance that my facts can lie in this region, but still if they are lying in that region and I am rejecting it, we say it's an alpha error. So it is also known as alpha error, error of first kind, error of excessive causality. We also call this as false positive or poor specificity. Now again example, a similar kind of example that we have taken here is, if a test shows that a person has kidney stone when in reality he does not have it, would be an example of type 1 error. Now moving on, you have the p value. So as we explained here, let's say my value comes to be 101. So assuming the the null hypothesis to be true, if there is a probability of obtaining a effect as extreme as the value that I have, that would be the p region. So all the values that would be here would fall under the p region. So p region, I can say, moves from 0 to 1. So as you move here, your p values would decrease, as we said. So as you have, when it's closer to the mean, you would have values closer to 1. As you move away from it, you would have the decrease in the probability and your p values would be closer to 0. Again, how do we try to bring or reduce our errors? So these were the type 1 errors and the type 2 errors. How can we reduce it? So we can reduce it by improving our mean, improving the methods that we use. We can say this could be done by increasing the sample size. So focusing more on sampling. So we would cover this sample size and sampling in the next lesson on research methodology, where we will be talking about sampling per se. However, for now, in simple terms, I can say if my values are very close to the normal distribution curve, so let's say this was my original normal distribution curve, and if I have the normal distribution curve which has more values concentrated towards the center or towards the middle with a higher probability of these data which lie in the middle, then you would have a kind of better chance that there would be less errors in these cases. Now next is the beta error that we would talk about. Now beta error, in simple terms, I can say you try to accept the null hypothesis when it is incorrect. So my null hypothesis is wrong, still I accept it, and that is what we talk under beta error. So what would happen, what would be the same case of the beta error here? So with the same example, I can say that a child has a fever, a child is running a fever, but still I say the child is not running a fever. So what would happen? That would be an example of the beta error, because the child is having the fever, still I am saying that child is not having a fever. So what I am doing is, I am accepting the incorrect null hypothesis. So first of all, the null hypothesis that I am taking is incorrect, and then I am accepting it, or I can say I am rejecting my alternative hypothesis. So that is what is type 2 error or beta error. This type 2 error, as you said, you accept the null hypothesis when it is false. So we call it beta error. We also call it error of second kind, error of excessive skepticism, false negative or low sensitive error. Now again, there is an example here which is similar to our example. So if there is a test that shows a person is not having a kidney stone when in reality he has a kidney stone, would be an example of type 2 error. So with this we cover the type 1 and the type 2 error. Now this graph helps us understand what we have explained till now. So you have the null hypothesis curve and the curve based on our probability, the values that we have received on the temperature after the child has eaten after the child has eaten the ice cream. So the new values on the thermometer would be here. So these are, let's say, with a mean of 101 close to that, and you have with a mean of 98.6 here. Now what I am doing here is, with my any mean that is here, that's let's say 101, I have plotted a new normal probability curve, and what would happen here is all the values beyond this which I am rejecting would be the type 1 error. So you have the null hypothesis here, and these are the values in the null hypothesis that you are rejecting, and that would be type 1 error, and the values from the alternative hypothesis that you are rejecting would be the type 2 error, or you are accepting the null hypothesis when it is incorrect. So when it is false, you are accepting it, and that would be the type 2 error. So this region would be the type 2 error, and this region would be the type 1 error. So that's a brief recap of what we have discussed till now. So with this we cover the hypothesis testing. In the next class we will be working on the sampling and the types of sampling for research methodology. You can subscribe to our lectures for more update. Have a good day.